Yo, people, welcome back to the YouTube channel. You already know what time it is. It's time for another preview. And listen, I'm looking forward to this one because last time I had Conor on the channel, we was talking about everything you need to know about Rafinha. And we was all gassed. And it was just the way it all transpired was jokes because we had Arsenal, Chelsea, Barcelona interest. And then obviously Arsenal fans, you got into the video at the beginning. You're like, oh, we're going to get Rafinha. We can't wait. Thanks for the video, Matisse and Conor. And then what happened? Chelsea came in with a breaking news. And then Chelsea fans went in there and was like, suck on that, you Gunners. Everybody went mad again. And then Barcelona came and taken us. And then Barcelona fans came in and went mad as well. So that video got like 3 different segments of hits. And yeah, it was just hilarious. And yeah, I enjoyed it and then I didn't enjoy it. So we all partied with that one. And then obviously now, everything you need to know about Leeds. Listen, I'm meant to be doing this for every team we face, but we've had little issues. As you know, I've been moving. Now I'm finally settled. This is actually going to be the first one opposition-wise, even though we're going into game week 3. But before we get into that, I need you lot to go into the link in the description and join me in this mini league that I've just found. I tested it out against, Palace versus Liverpool. I was like, let me not touch a Chelsea game yet. Let me test it out, see how it goes. And on Fanslide, I've got a new mini league. I want you guys to join it. Free to join, free to play. And I'm not doing FPL. So I know you guys have been asking, when are you going to start something? This is what I've found. And I'm like, yeah, this works because it's keeping my attention. It's keeping my attention. FPL, if you mess up in the first couple of weeks, which is what usually happens to me, and I play my wild card and then game week 5, 6, I'm done. This, I was playing it against Palace, Liverpool. I tell you guys, you slide in players mid-game. And I thought I had it nailed, and it's really difficult. It's not easy to play, but it keeps you focused. And like I said, for me, I subbed in Zaha just before he scored. It happens 20-minute segments. You can sub someone in. You can leave them in for 10 minutes, take them out if you want. But once you use a player, you can't use it again. And I subbed in Zaha 20 minutes, then bang, took him out because I couldn't use him again. Then he went and scored. I was like, oh my God. Darwin Núñez, he got sent off. So just loads of little things can happen in the game. It really does test whether you can predict the way a game's going to go from minute 0 to minute 90. And you, like I said, you can put a player in for 5 minutes, take him out, 10 minutes, take him out. But once you've used him for 20 minutes, you can't use him again. So it's different. It's fun. And I'm going to be doing it a lot for some of the Chelsea games coming up as well. So make sure that you join the link. I've got a league. I want to see as many people in there as possible. And the winner, listen, the winner might have to get something because the FPL for me last season was a massive L. So make sure you join the league. The link is in the description. Like I said, it's very fun, very easy to play. But yeah, I took an L against Palace, Liverpool. So I need to improve now. And going into this Leeds Chelsea game, that's going to be the first one that I do this weekend. That's the game I've picked. And make sure you're coming to Twitch and watching the game along with me as well, because we can all do our picks together, go through it. But then, like I said, the watch along is wild. We did the watch along for Chelsea Tottenham on Twitch, and that's where all the watch alongs are. So if you're not following on Twitch, you need to be following. But yeah, make sure you check it out. And like I said, guys, it's jokes. I can't lie to you. It's different. It's something to keep your brain engaged. So without further ado, make sure you join the league. I want to see as many of you in there as possible. And we're going to get into this one because we need to learn about Leeds, man. It's a big game, and let's get into it. Come on. Perfect. Here he is. Come off the man. Come off the hour. You started trouble. I'm telling you, last time you was on it, you started trouble, man. That Rafinha video it was hilarious. It was probably one of the funniest videos on my channel because it wasn't meant to be funny. it was just a simple, like, we're just going to discuss the player, break it down. And then it just turned into a joke, really. How are you doing, bro?
I don't even remember where he was going at that point. Was he sort of? I think you were rumoured for him, but then Arsenal were pretty much sold on him, and then that moved. Obviously, you put the 60 million bid in for him. It was just the moving pieces with that deal was just absolutely crazy. You know, we've not even been given the full amount for him. Apparently, on the 2nd of September, that's when Judgment Day is. So it's Barcelona, man. So anything can happen. But I'm good, man. Are you?
Yeah, I'm very good, man. Very good. I'm looking forward to this game. We almost kind of have to bounce back, which is not how I'd think I'd review a Spurs draw in a tight game. Everybody kind of predicted, a lot of people predicted that it would go against us and we weren't as ready as they were. But the way the game, you know, came out and came to fruition, we was like, wow, we need to bounce back, man. This is an L. This draw is an L. But that's the mentality I hope we keep throughout the season. For you guys were leading 2-0. And then dropped it, isn't it? So, I mean, talk to me about that game positives, negatives, and I guess going into this game, you've got a lot of new signings. We know you've lost Rafinha, you've lost Phillips, and most people will look at those 2 losses and be like, wow, Leeds are going to be in trouble. But you guys have spent, well, you've recruited a lot. And I must be honest, I don't know a lot about the guys you've recruited. They're not like obvious standout names you're signing in league. You're going out there and getting players. So how do you feel about Leeds right now? And talk to us a little bit about maybe the last game and the approach.
Yeah, I mean, just on the first 2 games, Matisse, I mean, Wolves is always a decent win. I think everybody can sort of attest to that. They're a good standard team, and I think any win over Wolves for any team is a decent win, to be honest with you. I thought we deserved it as well. For sort of 60 minutes, we were dominant. Wolves had the threat, which you're going to have against the Leeds side. I think a lot of people think we've completely shifted away from Bielsa, but the intensity, the press, the high line is still there with Jesse Marsch. It's just a different way of playing, a different system, but those sort of mannerisms and those systematical ways that Bielsa went about things are still there in the Jesse Marsch system. So that's something that we've not really deviated away from. We saw that in the first game. Wolves were still able to create chances. Their XG was, I think it was 0.25 in the first half. And in the first half, Leeds were completely dominant. So in a strange way, we were. I mean, we dominated possession. We still created chances, but Wolves were still able, to hit us on the break, which is a bit of a problem. The Southampton game, once again, completely dominant, really, for 60 minutes. Patrick Bamford was forced off with an injury, which is huge because he's the focal point, really, in this system, which is really direct, compact and narrow. We need him really up there to hold the ball up and link play. He was taken off. Rodrigo went up there and is now the Premier League top scorer with 3. So long may that continue. I don't think it will. But
the danger man.
The danger man, yeah. So, yeah, we did okay in that game, but it was a real problem because, to be honest, Matisse, when you go 2-0 up in the Premier League, you just simply have to see it out, mate. I mean, you'll know that, and especially against the Southampton side, who I don't know if you've got them in your bottom 3, but if any Chelsea fan, if any Chelsea, honestly, mate, if any Chelsea fans have any sort of like bets going on about the bottom 3, stick Southampton in there. They were dreadful. So yeah, it was basically what Jesse did in the first game was he made subs at the right time, brought subs on really in the second half when Wolves were starting to get a foothold in the game. That changed the game. Leeds then went and scored and started to dominate towards the end. He didn't make subs in this game, and that is when Southampton started to get on top. And my question for this Leeds side is, when the press does inevitably stop in games, which it will, notoriously, because teams get tired, is our defensive solidity there to be able to then deal with the barrage of attacks that opposition teams are then going to force on Leeds United, especially the top side? So it's been a mixed bag, mate, but 4 points out of 6, really, I can't complain.
Really strong start. And it's a testament that you guys are almost 1 in 6. You want 6 points. You're kind of disappointed after that Southampton, understandably. So it's like, again, like I spoke with the Spurs game, it's the way the game went that you even more annoying. But I guess we know Southampton as well are going to struggle this year. Leeds under Bielsa, I want to distinctly go through the difference now with Jesse Marsch. Now that you've had a full preseason, you can see the approach first 2 games, because under Bielsa, we just remembered you, like you said, of this back and forth team. You conceded a lot of goals, but you scored a lot of goals, or at least you created a lot of chances. And then, when Bamford goes injured, there's struggles maybe finishing wise, and it's maybe an over-reliance on Rafinha, Dan James, end product would always need to keep improving. Do you think you're a lot more methodical now? Would you say you're a little bit more calculated? And from what we remember, obviously, when we played you, it's a heated battle. It's a massive contest in terms of rivalry as well. I mean, Leeds seem to have a rivalry with almost everyone, to be honest. And we'll speak about that because Jesse Marsch, like you were saying before we start recording, is beefing all the managers. He's sending emails to Bruno, like you said. And even Thomas Tuchel. I watched your press conference before we recorded, and I was saying, Thomas Tuchel, I was like, is there a beef here? He was like, I don't want to see him. I don't want to see him on the bench. As far as I'm aware of football or soccer, there's meant to be a red card, and that means you're suspended for the next game. I said, easy, Jesse, easy.
Yeah, it's the thing is, Matisse, is I think obviously it's not our generation, but there is it kind of is our generation. I mean, we have a huge, and this will be, I'll probably get a lot of abuse for this on your channel, but there's the Derby link with Frank Lampard and the Chelsea link. I mean, he is literally probably the most hated man in Leeds, Frank Lampard. So there is the Chelsea links there. Obviously, we had Dennis Wise as manager. Ken Bates was our owner, formerly saying that he wants to drive Leeds out of the Football League, and Leeds fans are the scum of the earth. So yeah, there's definitely a heated rivalry there between us and Chelsea. But I think it was definitely reignited last season when we came down to the bridge. It almost felt a little bit like when Tottenham came down to Chelsea, and it was the Battle of the Bridge. It was just so heated, I couldn't believe it, and it was a brilliant game of football. But yeah, overall, when we're talking about systematically, mate, and how we've changed, I mean, Bielsa everything was fluid out wide. It was all about being dynamic. It was all about hitting the touch lines and then attacking them. There was no onus on set piece offensively and defensively. There was nothing on that. And just in general, defense, there was no onus on defending in football games. It was all about attacking, free flow and attacking football. And like you quite rightly said, we get picked off. But there was no then adaptation from Marcelo. It was, we go again. We just keep going back. And Matisse, when you don't have the quality to be able to defend one-on-one, to be able to, go across the pitch with opposition teams 1v1, you're going to get picked off. And Marcelo died by that. I thoroughly believe we'd have gone down with him. So I think the board made the right choice. But Jesse had 12 games. He came in. He basically came out and said that he didn't want to come in mid-season. Preparation-wise, obviously, it's not the most ideal situation. But what he's managed to do in this window is he's actually brought players in who managed to fit his system. So Jesse plays a much more narrow, compact system. His whole philosophy is you have to play central to get to the goal, which in a kind of weird way makes sense. But in my opinion, you have to manipulate space to be able to get close to goal. And, with players like Rafinha, I do think in this system, he would have struggled. And that's where it's quite interesting from opposition fans, because from an outside, you'll see Rafinha, you'll see Calvin Phillips go and you'll think flipping out like, wow. But, Rafinha was an individual who liked to hug the touchline and beat his man. And that was what he was all about. He's playing in a 4-3-3 system now. That was what he wouldn't have been able to do that at Leeds. It was very, very narrow, and you wouldn't have been able to get his best qualities and attributes out of this system, the Jesse Marsch system. Very, very similarly to Calvin Phillips, who drops between the centre-backs and distributes it left, distributes it right, and that's his game. Whereas if you're playing centrally, vertically, narrow, he's not going to be able to do that. And Calvin really, really struggled, in my opinion, in the Jesse Marsch system. And as you know, with Tuchel, the system prevails. You have to find players to just fit the system. The system is all important. So what he's managed to do this window is go out and recruit players who've played in the Red Bull system before, who have very good attributes when it comes to fitting in a narrow system. And I think we've done that quite well. I still would like additions, but the system and where we are as a side now, we look much more ready for the Premier League. And in the 2 games we've played, I probably would say that Leeds were deserved winners out of both, to be honest with you, which is positive signs from last season when we were just getting ultimately battered week in, week out by any side.
Yeah, and it's true, because now I think, last season you were a little bit erratic, I would say. And Bielsa's obviously very stubborn as well. So he was never going to change his principles, even though you were starting to get yourselves into a relegation scrap. You just knew that Leeds were just going to continue to keep leaking goals regardless. And not just, Phillips with an injury, but Cooper as well. I remember, I think was out. And again, Marsch didn't want to give away too much, but it seems like he could be available. Bamford could be available. But I mean, we're used to Bamford being the tallies man. He's put up some great figures in this league at points, but Rodrigo's the top scorer at the moment. Just talk to me about the danger man that I guess we should have to look out for. I know Rodrigo would probably be the obvious one, if there's anyone else as well that you feel like could pose us problems, because I believe we have quite a good defense. Our weakness would now be, in my opinion, going forward and finishing our chances and being clinical with whatever we create, whether that's a large volume of chances created sometimes, and sometimes nothing really created, very few chances, and some people have to exceed their XGs. But going forward, I mean, what do we need to be wary of, do you feel like?
So I think obviously when you're looking at Leeds going forward, I think that the thing with Jesse Marsch is now we press in units. So it's very, very different to what we do with Marcelo, where it'd be 1v1, you press that way. It's you're pressing units, and we've just got an absolute machine in Brendan Aronson, who has already put up ridiculous numbers when it comes to presses. I think the first and second week combined, he's got more presses than anyone in the Premier League. So I think what Jesse's going to try and utilize in this game is maybe pressing him on sort of Thiago Silva getting the ball and potentially Brendan Aronson pressing on that first touch and Leeds moving up as a unit. Now he initiates the press similarly to what Conor Gallagher did at Crystal Palace. That is a danger, and that's been a problem for the 2 teams that we've faced. Brendan Aronson initiating that press and then Leeds going as a team. We're very, very fit as a side as well. So if we're able to regain possession in that press and we're able to sort of overloading those phases. That has been a problem for the two teams we've faced. Now, we do have as well the summer signing coming in, Sinistera, who we got from Feyenoord, who looks absolutely electric. I mean, some of his numbers are unbelievable. He'll be coming in for this one as well. So I think with that added quality that we've managed to bring in this season and those pressing players as well, that's going to be very advantageous for Leeds. But in terms of us going forward, I know you're very, very strong at the back, but it's going to be interesting to see how Chelsea deal with a very unusual press, not a press that any other team really deploys. And if we're pressing in units and Brendan Harrison is to really press on that Thiago Silva touch, it's going to be whether or not Chelsea can then bypass that press. Because I'll tell you, Matisse, if you bypass that press, Leeds are in big trouble. Because if you're pressing as a unit, then you're essentially bringing four or five. Yeah, you're bringing 4 or 5 players over. Now, if the ball's played into Reece James, he can play it to Jorginho, switch it to Cucurella. Leeds are completely unbalanced there. And I think that's where we've also faced problems. But in terms of Chelsea going forward, I probably would say the midfield, which has drastically improved for Leeds this season. We brought in a player from Bayern Munich called Mark Rocker, where his distribution is very, very good. His tackling's extremely good. But we've also brought in a ball winner called Tyler Adams from Leipzig, who is exceptionally good at 1v1 duels. So it's going to be interesting to see you Chelsea deploying that sort of central attacking midfield space, whether or not it is Conor Gallagher. I know he's not. I mean, Conor Gallagher. I mean, I know Mason Mount, it's like mini Frank Lampard, isn't it? But Mason Mount, he loves playing against Leeds, and I know he's going to be a problem, but I presume he's going to be on the right. But if Conor Gallagher is in that central attacking midfield spot, I think he might have a few difficulties against Tyler Adams, because he's relentless as well, absolutely relentless. And I think that's what I'm talking about, Matisse. The foundation of Leeds now, we might have lost 2 star boys, but the foundation across that starting 11 and the subs bench is much stronger.
Yeah, this is really good, because I wanted to just get a little overview before I gave some of my takes on the way I think this game's going to go. Havertz was crucial against Tottenham in terms of build-up play. His link-up play was very good. He was very aggressive. He was winning his duels. But for the finish, it would have been a really, really good game for him. But he didn't apply that finishing touch. And now when you talk about the build-up play as well, I'm thinking to myself, the wide areas. If you guys are attacking down the centre, that's a lot of pressure on a Jorginho, on a Conor Gallagher. And I'm thinking Chelsea may need to go to a 3-5-2 and get Mason Mount in there as well, just to try and outnumber or even match what you guys are doing, depending on how many players you deploy in that area. But if everything's going down the middle from a traffic standpoint, you're vertically trying to play down the centre, your press is going to be probably maybe quite central. If players are really inverted, and they're going to all tuck in, and it's going to be quite suffocating in there. We're going to need numbers, and we haven't got Kovacic, we haven't got Kante, and Kante is obviously brilliant at winning the ball back. He's a lot of legs when he's at his best. Conor Gallagher's going to bring that energy. Mason Mount in there will bring that energy, and they'll help Jorginho off the ball, hopefully, in those wider spaces, and then in the counter press as well, which I think could be quite useful. And then you've got Jorginho, who is basically for us the master of build-up play. He's the guy that picks up the ball. Even if you do press, he's going to have a lot of pressure on him to make those triangles, make those partnerships with the left side centre back, with the right side centre back, with the wing backs, and kind of knit everything together. If we do lose the ball in that moment, we are screwed. Like, I think we're in trouble, because this is where I think someone like Cucurella, do you play him at left side centre back for those transitions, for those for the speed to match some of your players in there in that press? If we do lose the ball, he could be the second instigator in trying to win it. If Jorginho was to be dispossessed, you've got someone that's immediately going to come out and sort out the danger. Is Chilwell ready? He played at under 23s match. I'm not sure, but those wing back areas, if you guys are so vertical and you guys are so insistent on pressing down the centre and playing down the centre, does that mean you are leaving a lot of space out wide for those wing backs like Reece James, maybe Cucurella if he plays out on wing back again? He was brilliant against Tottenham. Is there a lot of space, do you think, for overloads out there?
Yeah, there definitely is. I mean, it's interesting you mentioned the 3-5-2 as well, because if Leeds are shredding bodies down the middle, then it might be interesting if Chelsea were to deploy sort of 3 in the midfield. I know you overloaded Spurs in there as well, and Bentancur and Højbjerg were completely suffocated. If you can do that with Leeds and then just almost rely on Reece James and Cucurella to be your width.
Or Ruben Loftus-Cheek, I should have mentioned, actually, because
Ruben, he played on the right, didn't he?
He played on the right wing back spot against Tottenham. He was brilliant, and he really did well at Real Madrid last season. He's starting to rack up quite a few good performances. And this is part of the overload in terms of if you go with maybe a Gallagher, a Mason, and a Loftus-Cheek at right wing back who can invert and tuck in, and that's kind of the kind of player. He's not going to stick on the byline. He's always going to come central as well. Then you've got maybe 3 kind of 8/attacking midfielders in central areas who have energy, who can carry the ball, who will press. And that is how you kind of nullify maybe what you're talking about here.
Yeah, I think that's it, Matisse. And the whole problem with last season when we played Chelsea was Rudiger. Rudiger was the huge issue because what Leeds would do under Marcelo Bielsa is we would play out wide and we would focus. Well, we just wouldn't focus on any central spaces at all. So everything would be, as I've said before, get to the touchline and try expose the opposition. So Rudiger would just get the ball, bring it, and then just carry the ball through the middle. And he was a very good ball carrier. So he'd make things happen. Whereas now it's the complete opposite. Leeds are almost neglecting the wide areas, and our width now comes from our right back and our left back, and that's it. So if everything else is through the central spaces, it's almost like a rocket. We could compare it to another phallic symbol, but we won't. PC. That's the formation. That's the formation we're looking at, really. So yeah, if you're relying on just the fullbacks to provide the width, and that is it, then I think you're going to face problems out wide, especially against Cucurella, who I thought was absolutely fantastic against Tottenham. I know you mentioned Chilwell. There's no chance. If you're offering me Cucurella or Chilwell, I think he's a good player, but I don't think he gets ahead of Cucurella. I couldn't believe his percentages against Tottenham. He never loses the ball, and I think he's so intelligent. I think that's going to cause Leeds a lot of problems. And I think Reece James, obviously, I mean, his quality speaks for himself, really. So, yeah, if Chelsea are to pack out the box in a 3-5-2 system, put three sort of central midfield bodies in there with energy, because you do have to match Leeds' energy, as you'll even know from the Bielsa era. Yeah. We have improved in quality, so that's going to be advantageous to us. But if you're able to get 1v1 situations out wide with the quality that you have, I think that's where Leeds are going to come unstuck.
Yeah, I think for me, in terms of that midfield makeup there, I think it would do very well to match Leeds energy wise, counter press, try and get in amongst your build up play. Will you guys still try and build up from the back as well as you used to, or do you think you could go long? I don't see Chelsea going long too often with Kai up top if Cooper comes back as well. I know, listen, Kai's a tough one to judge because sometimes he does win his aerial duels like he did against Tottenham, and you can go long and you can rely on him for a little bit of link up, hold up. But Kai has to have that switch in his head kind of clicked, and he has to say, today I'm going to be a bastard. Today I'm going to be a shithouse. Today I'm going to be, aggressive off the ball. I'm going to go in for challenges. And when Kai's in that mood, and no surprise, it's Tottenham where we see that side of Kai, because Tottenham
could be Leeds as well.
Yeah, I need that for Leeds, because I feel like Chelsea are going to need, if say your press is troubling us and it is unique and it is different, we do need another option. And I don't think we should be afraid to, not even go long just aimlessly, but clip it in behind into another area, into another zone, and play from there. One of the few things I liked about Marcos Alonso is you could clip the ball out to the left and he would win the first header, and he would bring it down, and then you could go from there. The only issue then was that he was a bit clunky. He's not as smooth on the ball as Cucurella. I think build-up wise, I think it's going to be heavily reliant on Silva, on Koulibaly, on Reece James, on Jorginho, those four. And then, your Masons, your Gallaghers, your Loftus-Cheeks, your Cucurellas, they have to suffocate and really show the energy and the counter press and getting amongst it on and off the ball. And then it's Sterling and Kai up top.
That's it. He's going to be a problem. Sterling. He's going to be a huge problem. Yeah, I mean, like you say, you spoke about Havertz. If Havertz even could drop deep and it's sort of a Harry Kane mold and then sort of dictate play there. I don't know if Havertz is able to do that. He seems to have the technical ability to do that.
Sometimes maybe good, sometimes maybe shit.
So yeah, I think if he's able to do that and release Sterling, and those two sort of have a little bit of a synergy in this game, that's going to be a big problem. Sterling's given us a lot of problems before. People underrate Sterling massively, and I don't know why. Especially in a 1v1 scenario, which out wide Leeds are going to have problems with. That's what I mean, Matisse. If you're able to overload, if almost Sterling is able to aid Cucurella in terms of just being an inside forward, sort of starting out wide and then manoeuvring his way in with that dribbling ability he has, that's going to be a big problem for Leeds, because it's almost going to be a 2v1 scenario, which with quality players like you have, I think that's going to be a bit of an issue for Leeds. But yeah, I think I will be honest with you. I think it's going to be, and I could be wrong, and touch wood I'm not, but I think it's going to be a bit more of a tougher test than what you faced last time, which was just almost a walkover. I mean, Leeds weren't even present in the game, so I think it's going to be a bit more of a tough test, and we've seen that this season. Really, there's a little bit more about this Leeds side than what there was last season.
I'm fascinated actually tactically to see how this game goes. I do think it will be close. I think my prediction on Big Six was 2-1 Chelsea, so I do think it will be a close game. Do you think it'll be the same starting 11 that played against Southampton for you guys? Obviously, Bamford started that game. We don't know if he's going to play, as we mentioned. So if he doesn't play, does Rodrigo go up top and then you change that player in behind, or how would that work, do you think?
Yeah, so the likelihood is Rodrigo would go up front. If he puts Dan James up front again, I'm just going to stop following football. But there's a likelihood that he puts Rodrigo up front. And you just mentioned earlier on, Matisse, about was playing out from the back. We don't really do that anymore. Unless Mark Rocker comes and collects the ball from that midfield space, splits the defenders, and then moves centrally. We don't really do that anymore. That was a very Bielsa thing. So we used to try hit the wings as well, which never used to work. But now we will go direct, which could be a little bit of an issue, because when you've got Koulibaly, even if you've got Azpilicueta back there and Thiago Silva, if we are to go direct, you have to have that body up there, right, to hold the ball, to link the play. And if Leeds don't have that in Patrick Bamford, then what? And another option, to be fair, Matisse, is I don't know if you remember, but when we were at Stamford Bridge, we had a player come off the bench called Joe Gelhardt, who literally changed the game. Young lad, about 19 years of age, scored the second goal. He is available, and he's going to get a lot more minutes this season. He was involved in so many goals towards the back end of last season, and he's one of the best youngsters in the Premier League for his age. He's fantastic. If he's to start, he's a lot better at holding the ball up, and Leeds are playing off the second balls now. So if we go direct to the striker, it's all about Brendan Aronson. It's all about Harrison working off the forward and being economical with the space there. So it's going to be interesting to see how Leeds go about it, really. But I would expect if we aren't to go with Joe Gelhardt, it'd be Rodrigo up front, Sinisterra to make his debut. Just a 3 in behind Rodrigo. It'd be Sinisterra from left to right, probably Harrison off the other side, and maybe Aronson through the middle.
So before we come to a close, if that long ball isn't working for some reason and Koulibaly is dominating in the air and they are dealing with that, are you confident in Leeds playing out from the back? I know you don't do that, but are you confident if you have to mix it up? Are you comfortable? Because I mean, the Bielsa in them should still kind of be there, I guess, for some of them. I know there's some new players in there, but or do you think it's all just being kicked out of their system now and playing out from the back with, say, an aggressive Havertz, an aggressive Sterling, a Gallagher? Because I think we're going to press you quite hard up the pitch, and if we go with the Sterlings and we go with and play hopefully in your half a little bit and try and win those balls and try and suffocate you and keep you away from our goal. And if we have the Gallaghers, who I think is a kind of perfect player for this kind of game, especially the atmosphere as well. I think I think Gallagher kind of responds to the atmosphere in the stadium as well, like that.
It's like Mason Mount as well.
Yeah, they love, you know, Mason loves the West Hams, you know, away from home, you know, the derbies against the Leeds, you know, Gallagher Palace atmosphere is probably one of the best. You could say as well, at home to like the Arsenals and at home to the Man Cities. These kind of games where there's a little bit of something in there, I think they will thrive. And like I said, it's going to be an energy kind of game. Sterling pressing, Havertz pressing, Gallagher, Mount. Do you think you can handle that?
No, I don't think if that is to be a consistent thing, and maybe Leeds are to play out through Meslier, then, you know, to the defenders, Robin Koch, Pascal Strauch on the other side. I mean, the big thing to note as well is we don't have a left back at the minute. We have a centre back playing at left back, and he's very, very good at left back, in my opinion. He's able to do that very well, but the mobility isn't there. And I think sometimes he can be sluggish on the ball because he's a centre back, right? He's not a full back. So I think if we're giving him the ball and we're playing along the back line, and you've got Sterling, Gallagher, and Mount pressing you alongside Havertz, that's going to be. I mean, Matisse, we've got to call a spade here. You are a world-class team, so it is for any team. It's going to be very, very difficult to be able to deal with this. But I think, you know, manipulating the spaces, turning Chelsea around. trying to put the pressure a little bit on Koulibaly and Koulibaly and Thiago Silva. They're once again world-class operators, but turning them around, turning Chelsea around, I think is the best option here. I don't want Leeds to be playing the ball around in our defensive third against you guys. I don't think any team would be able to deal with that as well, you know, aside from maybe your Liverpools and your Man Cities. I think I want to turn Chelsea around, hit the ball in the channels. If we can play off the striker, then let's do that. But Leeds aren't a lump ball team, but I think we have that in our arsenal now, which is a little bit more pragmatic to what we saw under Bielsa. But I don't know if we will see it. I don't think we will. But if we're to start playing it out from the back, I think it's a death warrant. I think the best thing we can try and do is hit the striker, hit the channels, and then work off them. You know, make sure our second ball winning ability is there, and make sure, you know, the fitness level of this Leeds side is very, very good. So if we're able to stay in the face of Chelsea, make it a really tough game for you guys, in your faces, make it rough, you know, like we've seen previously with an edge of quality as well. That's probably Leeds' best chance in this one, Matisse. I think quality-wise and system-wise, it's going to be really difficult for Leeds United to counteract what Chelsea bring.
Yeah, and Jesse Marsch was saying that he's trying to highlight which players were good, and then he just said, all of them are good. So there you go.
But he's like what he was saying, though. Like, I know there's a lot of people who are just like, Chelsea won't even finish in the top 4. I mean, it's mental. It is mental when you look at the caliber of the players that you bring in. Obviously, I know you brought another Inter Milan player in this morning as well. There's going to be more to come. So you got to watch this space. Why am I being so nice to Chelsea? Like, I'm always I think it's because I like you, Matisse. It's because I like you.
This is what we do here. We try to soften up, so we make sure everybody starts loving Chelsea a little bit more.
There are a few other Chelsea fans on the platform that I might have a bit of a go with, but I like you, Matisse. Okay.
No, we do some good content, bro. We really do, and this is fascinating. I think tactically this is going to be a fun game to watch.
Yeah, it will.
Obviously, like I said, my prediction was a close Chelsea win, mainly because from a goal scoring standpoint, I don't think we're killing off anybody anytime soon until we get those forwards in. So it's not like we're going to completely take you out of the game by just, you know, say we blew you away in 15 minutes and then it was tough for you to get back in. I would love to see that, but I don't see it happening. What would be your score prediction if you don't mind doing one, or if not? Because I know some people don't like doing them. They're like,
no, it's all right, mate. I do this and then I die on it later. No, I think it's got to a point now as well with when you're facing these top 4 teams, where it's almost like if you can get a respectable score, but you do really well, you know, you show the principles of what we're trying to deliver, you're very good in the game, then you can almost take that away. That's the gap now between the top 4 and the rest of the league. It's crazy. So I expect Leeds to lose this one. I just think it's a bridge too far, but I think it's going to be a valiant effort, and I think maybe 2-0, mate. I think you guys are going to win, but I think Leeds are going to give a fair bit. But yeah, I think Chelsea just going to be too good on the day.
Well, there we go. Well, guys, make sure you check out Conor's channel. Let them know about where to find you, bro. It's been a pleasure as always. Brilliant.
Yeah, man. I mean, if you want to come over to more biased, weird Chelsea content over here, come over to the One Leeds fan channel, and we'll have reaction for the Chelsea game. We'll have Matisse on as well, who's going to be on the channel a little bit later on. So yeah, make sure you head on over. We'll have all your Chelsea reaction over there, and come see if you disagree or agree with me. I try not to be too Leeds biased, Matisse. I try to be objective, but it does become quite difficult in these times where everybody's coming to your club. I know you know a lot about that.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. We're not the most liked clubs in the football pyramid, so I'm not going to lie. It's not easy. But guys, make sure you go and subscribe to Conor. The link is in the description and in the title. Same as the last time we did a collab. It was brilliant. For me, listen, make sure you smash the likes, subscribe to the channel. We got a lot of content coming up. Probably 2 Leeds previews. This will be the first, and then 1 from more of a Chelsea perspective, a little bit more talking about tactically how I want to see us go up against this Leeds side, and just checking on the availability, because last time I did a preview, Kovacic was out 30 minutes after the preview went out, and it just completely made my preview make no sense. So I'm gonna just bide my time a little bit more when these press conferences are over.
Mate, you do the right thing. I literally did a preview this morning. I thought I had it nailed on. I was like, we've got all the information. Then Jesse Marsch essentially says, yeah, we're not out of the transfer market yet. It's like, oh, we've not said that, but it's like we're completely out of the market before this. So
during the preview before the press conference really is a death sentence. Do you know what I'm saying? That is just like, I'm telling you. So yeah, we're not going to be doing that again. Thank God the game's on a Sunday. That makes life a lot easier. So yeah, guys, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Again, thank you for 28K. I don't think I thanked you guys enough for that one. You hit that milestone. We're not far from 30. And like I said, link is in the description for Fanslide, the league that I've just set up. My mini league, like I said, is free to play, free to join, and I'm looking forward to it because, like I said, I'm new to it. I tested it out last game week. Now I'm ready to do it with you guys, and it's good because I'm late to FPL, so there's no point in me setting up my FPL. But you can do this, and you don't have to do it from the beginning, like I said. So the mini league has only just begun. The link is down there. And make sure that you're joining on Twitch because the watch along for Leeds Chelsea is going to be on there. We're going to play together. I'm sure my reactions will be insane as per usual because I'm very emotionally connected to this season right here. I know this is a very important season. Whoever doesn't make top 4 out of us, Tottenham and Arsenal, I'm telling you, somebody's in big trouble. So
Matisse, where are you?
Cannot be us.
I can't.
No, I can't do that. I can't give that prediction until the transfer window is over. I'm sorry.
Okay, I'll ask you after.
There you go. So guys, we're going to be following the game live, and this new league that I've set up is only going to make it more fun because, like I said, them in-game reactions are going to be jokes if one of the players come through. But it's very difficult. It's very difficult. But we're going to try and navigate and start winning these games properly. So yeah, big up your damn selves. Make sure you join in the description down below. Subscribe. Do all that good stuff. In a bit, people. Peace.
Perfect.